Hi, and welcome to Designing Charts in PowerPoint. This is a 2-lesson instructional video, and this is lesson 1. And so the first thing you want to do is open up your PowerPoint. Make sure you have a slide in front of you, a blank slide. You can choose a design from the design menu if you would like to, or you can just use a blank slide, whatever makes you feel good. And so the first thing we want to do is we want to go to the Insert tab, which is up here on the menu, and we're going to insert a new slide here, and we're going to choose the content with caption slide here. And as you can see, we have 3 click to add title boxes on the slide. And so the next thing we want to do is we want to put our chart in. So there's 2 ways we can do that. We can start right here. We can put it from this little icon, which is a chart icon inside the box. Or we can do what I like, and that is to come up on the menu and choose the chart here, then choose column. We're going to make a column chart, and then choose the clustered column chart, and that's the particular chart we're going to use. So click that, and then Excel is going to pop up on my computer magically, which I don't want it to do, but it does it anyway. So we'll have to hold on for just 1 second and let Excel do its little thing. And now that we do that, we'll go back into our PowerPoint, and voila, there is our chart. How about that? We did it. Yay. Okay. Now our chart's pretty generic here, and generic just means that it's boring. It doesn't have any data in it. It doesn't have any, really good elements. It's just blah. And so what we want to do is we want to use the Format Chart area. That's what we're going to do first, and we're going to use this menu. Now, there's a way to get into these menus, so I'm going to close out of this. And as you can see, we have our chart, and we got grayed out areas up here at the top, and there's nothing over here. So how do we edit our chart? We click one time, and we click one time on the chart, and we get this little tab up here. It's called the Chart Design tab. We're going to click on that, and you see all these elements come up, and these things are all related to the chart. And the only way to access those is by clicking in the chart. If you don't click in the chart, you will not be able to see the chart design element. So you have to click in the chart. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to leave the design menu, and we're going to double click in our chart, and we're going to get this menu. This is a manual formatting menu. What that means is we can do every single little element any way we want to do it. And so there's some options here. We have a paint can. We have a little pen brush sort of, and what this does, it allows us to do shadows and glows and different effects that we can do. And so that we're going to cover that later, but for this one I just want to point these out to you. So if you want to do shadows, you can play with these. Don't get me wrong. You can go in and experiment with these and have fun with them. And this one here, the third one, is the size, position. If we want to put some extra text so people will know what our chart is about, we can put it there. And then we have text options, and these are things that we can do with the text we put into the chart. And so we're going to go back and make sure we're in chart options and that we are in the paint can. And as you can see, we have all kinds of options here. We have border options and we have fill options. And the fill options are for the different elements of the chart to change the colors. So we're in the Format Chart area, which means we're in the background of the chart. And the background of the chart is transparent, which means we can see through it. So when we look at this chart, we're actually seeing the colors of a slide behind it. So if we click on No Fill, nothing changes, and that's because the slide, like I said before, the slide is transparent. So the automatic setting means that it's transparent, and no fill also means that it's transparent. So we're going to go to solid fill, and that is terrible, isn't it? That is not going to work for our chart because we can't see our text. We just see these bars. What is this? And so we're going to go over here, and we're going to change our color, and we're going to make the background of our chart this really kind of a purplish blue color. And I think it's really bold and bright, and we can see it really well. And so we changed, that was our chart area. That is the background of the chart that we changed. So now we're going to look at the plot area. The plot area is, if you click right between these 2 lines, you see another box appears. That's the plot area. So what we're going to do here is we can change this. The plot area is where all of your information is, all of the things about the information and the data that you're sharing with your audience. This is where it is. And so the first thing we're going to do is we notice we have the same exact menu. No fill, solid fill, gradient fill. And it's exactly the same as it was when we did the chart area. So let's go to gradient fill. And we get this kind of weird pink and white color, which I'm not real fond of. So let's go over here. Let's look at our presets. We can see we have these gradient menus, and we can choose one. And I like that because it kind of matches the background of the chart. You see how the color starts dark at the bottom and then kind of gets lighter at the top? Well, that's what a gradient looks like. And so we did that. Now let's look at our grid lines. Click once on one of the little white lines going across. Those are our grid lines. And Format Major Grid Lines comes up on the menu. Now, if you notice, this menu is completely different. Well, not completely, but it's majorly different from the chart area menu and the plot area menu. And so we're seeing no line, which means the lines come out. Automatic means the lines are in. We can give it a color. And we can give it a gradient color, which we just explained is a color that goes from lighter to darker, or darker to lighter. So let's go with no lines. I think no lines looks really nice. And so the next thing we want to do is our columns, or they are known as our data series. Now, the data series menu has the same exact options as does the chart area and the plot area, only it has this. It has series options. And so you can turn on some different things and you can experiment with that and see what it does. I'm not going to show you. I'm going to let you go and play with that a little bit. And we have the same menu here, which is our shadows and glows and our basically our dimensional, three-dimensional formatting, things we can do to make it look nice. And let's go to our paint can. And so each column, we want to get colors that sort of look together and they have sort of a scheme to them. And so let's look at solid fill. And it gave us a dark blue. Well, that's not bad. Now, if we click on the second one, do we notice what happens? The little dots appear at the top of each of the red columns. And each one of those columns, basically, when you highlight one, you highlight all of the ones of the same color. And you can notice always the same menu. So let's go to our solid fill. We don't want the same color, so we want to change it. So I'm going to give it this red, this really bold red. And let's go to the orange one. And let's give it this really, let's see, how does brown look? I'm not fond of that. See, this is what you can do. You can go in and you can make changes and see how you like the way your charts look. So here's my chart. And I have everything in front of me that I need to now start looking at other elements. So let's just give a real quick backtrack. We looked at the chart area. We looked at the plot area. We managed our grid lines, if I can find them. They're somewhere. Anyway, we managed our grid lines and we managed our columns and we changed the colors and we did those individually. And so the next thing we want to look at is we want to look at our other menu. But we don't want to get too far into that because I want to save some things for the second lesson. So the first thing I want you to understand is when you click into this chart design menu comes up, and these are called presets. And we're going to have some fun with the presets. And what presets are is kind of like, imagine if your mom asked you to set the table for dinner because you've got some guests coming over. And so you go and you get all the plates, and you get the forks, spoons, knives, napkins, all the elements that you need to set the table. Well, that's what Microsoft has done for us in PowerPoint. They have created these presets that are already done for us so that we don't always have to use this manual menu over here to format the different areas. We can have all that formatting done for us in one click. And so it's just a shortcut. In the preset, if you think of it in the way that I told you, is, you're setting the table. You're setting it up for yourself to make it easier when the time comes to use it. And so if you have any questions about that, you can direct them to your teacher, or you can come to the website and ask me any questions you like, and I'll be really happy to answer them for you. So we're going to leave this here. You should have your chart in place. You can always go back through this presentation and make sure you've got every element in place that you need for the next lesson. So everything should look like I have it here, although your colors can be different. You can change the colors to whatever you want them to be. And so you experiment with it, be creative with it, and see what you can learn on your own until the next time we meet. And I will talk to you soon.